Hello friends, welcome to Shikshan Setu. Today in this video we will be talking on C++ tokens. So a question come to our mind is what you mean by token. So token is smallest individual part of a C++ program. We try to understand it by one example. If we taken the example of book, a book is divided into chapters. A chapter is divided into paragraphs. A paragraph is also divided into sentences, and sentences are divided into words, and words are divided into characters. But that character cannot be further divided. So for book, a character can be considered as token because it is smallest individual part. Likewise, in C++ program, smallest individual part is known as token. We take the one example. If we look at this program, our program consists of different sentences. Now these sentences can be formed using different elements. Like those elements can be keywords, it can be identifiers, it can be constant, it can be strings, it can be operators. For example, we try to focus on this statement. I have written return 0 and semicolon. So here return is one word, 0 is one constant value, and the semicolon is a special symbol. Here in this example, cout is one object, this is one operator, then C is n colon which is surrounded by double quotation mark is one string. Then again I have used this particular operator, then C. So C is variable or we can say identifier, and semicolon is a special symbol. Likewise, every part in this statement, that cout or return or cin or int, which cannot be further divided, so that all these are considered to be tokens. Now token can be keyword, it can be identifier, it can be constant, it can be string, it can be operator. Now what are these terms? So we try to understand these terms. Now keywords. Keywords are the terms or the names which are system defined, which have been defined by the developer of C++ program. These names are reserved because it has already been declared and used by system. So some of the example of C++ keywords are very famous example which we are routinely using, like integer, float, double, public, private, protected, for, if, delete. All these are keywords. Here I have mentioned the list of 48 different keywords. Along with this, there are some other keywords defined by ANSI standard. Now next comes identifiers. Identifiers are the names or the words which have been used by programmer for declaring variable, functions, array, classes and etc. Means it is just variable name. Now to give the variable name or to define an identifier, there are some rules to be followed. These are rules. First rule is only alphabets, digits and underscores can be allowed during the declaration of the identifier. Second is it cannot start with a digit. Third is uppercase and lowercase letters are distinct. For example, here we can see int. So just now we have discussed that int is a keyword, but this is valid identifier name. Why? Because the keyword int is of all small letters, whereas in capital or whereas in identifier I have used capital I, means this int and this int both are different. Since C++ and C language both are case sensitive, int and int with small and capital letter both are different. And the last rule is keywords cannot be used as an identifier. These are some valid identifiers: answer underscore name, val1, student underscore name, int and float. Of course, I is capital and F is capital, that is why both are valid. Now some invalid. 1 VAL. Now why this is invalid? Because it starts with digit. Student name. So there is a space in between. That is why it is invalid. Birth date. But hyphen I have used in between. So it is not allowed to use hyphen. Then double and integer both are invalid because both are keywords. Next comes constant. Constant, which is very common thing and you all know about it, but again there are some special cases. We will be discussing on those special cases also. Very simple is decimal. So here if I write 123, 10,000, 57, 75, all these are considered to be decimal constant, and when we are trying to print it, it will be printed as it is. Means if I write Cout 123, output will be 123. Then floating point values, all the values which are having fractional part considered to be floating point. So I have written Cout 12.34, it will print 12.34. Then octal. Now all the values which is being starting with 0 is known as octal values. So if I write 012, it will not be printing 012 as it is, because it is octal value. It will convert that number into decimal equivalent and print the answer. We will see octal and hexadecimal and wide character constant later on in this video. So we take character. So single character. So single character is surrounded by single quotes and it will be printed as it is. Then string constant. It is surrounded by double quotes and will be printed as it is. Now we try to understand a special case, octal constant. Now octal constants are always starting with 0 and the base for octal value is 8. Let's take one example. Suppose I write Cout 012. So 012 will not be printed as an output. What system will do? System will convert this 012, which is octal number, into equivalent decimal number. So how to convert this octal into decimal? So for that we start with the rightmost part. So we will take 2 first. 2 into 8 power 0. Why 8 power? Because it is octal value. So 2 into 8 power 0 plus we move from right to left. So it next comes 1. So 1 into 8 power 1. So now 2 into 8 power 0 is 2 and 1 into 8 power 1 is 8. So 2 plus 8 equals to 10. So that octal decimal equivalent for this octal number 012 is 10. Let's take another example, Cout 0123. So here we convert octal into decimal. So we'll start with the rightmost part, which is 3. So 3 into 8 raised to 0. Then we move left side, it is 2. 2 into 8 raised to 1. Again moving left side, 1. 1 into 8 raised to 2. So 3 into 8 raised to 0 is 3. 2 into 8 raised to 1 is 2. Sorry, it is 16. And 1 into 8 raised to 2 is 64. So ultimately answer will be 83. So whenever you are printing any octal number, it will not be printed as it is, it will be converted into equivalent decimal number and will be printed on the screen. The same case happens with hexadecimal. Hexadecimal contains base 16 and it starts with 0x. Now small x or capital X both can be used over here. Let's take one example. If I print Cout 0x12 or I write 0 small x12, in both the cases this is hexadecimal number, will be converted by the system into decimal first. So we start with the rightmost part, it is 2. So 2 into 16 power 0 plus 1 into 16 power 1. It means this will be 2 and this will be 16. So answer is 18. So this is how in the case of octal and hexadecimal, value will not be printed as it is, it will be converted into decimal equivalent and printed on the screen. Now next important constant is wide character constant. Now wide character constant, it is more or less same as your character constant, but it occupies double space than the character. It means that character occupies 1 byte. It means it can able to store 256 different values using character, whereas in the case of wide character it can able to store 65,536 different values to represent different entities. Again, one another difference is character constant is representing ASCII values, or it represents the ASCII table, whereas this wide character constant is focusing on Unicode values. Now, what we mean by Unicode values? So, to provide different languages a common standard, there is a concept developed. That concept is known as Unicode values. In this concept, all the characters, special symbols and all other languages are given a specific unique value, and that value is known as Unicode value. Now, how to declare wide character constant? So, wide character constant are declared with this particular type. We need to write wchar underscore t. The size of wide character constant, more or less it is 4. In GCC compilers it is 4. In some other compiler it can be 2, because it is double than the character. And where we can use this wchar underscore t or the wide character constant? Wherever you are presenting international languages, or we can say whenever we are presenting some terms from other languages, we can go with wchar underscore t. Now, to understand it clearly, we take one example. So, I have declared one character, but this character is wide character. So, I have written wchar underscore t ch. So, now variable ch is of wide character type. Now, I am assigning some value to it. Now, whenever you are assigning value, it must start with capital L, and then in single quotation I can able to specify the character which I need to assign. So, here I am using rupee symbol. So, this rupee symbol will be stored in ch. So, it is wide character, and whenever I am printing that value of this rupee symbol, the Unicode equivalent will be printed on the screen. So, whenever I am printing, it will print 8377, which is Unicode equivalent value of rupee symbol. Another example, suppose I am printing small a, but it is wide character because it is preceded by capital L. So, when I print this, the value will be printed like 97. It means that whenever we are printing wide character, it will not be printing character on the screen, it will be printing equivalent Unicode value for that particular character. Now, it comes to size. What size it will occupy? So, here it occupies 4 bytes. I am using GCC compiler. So, GCC compiler, in this case wide character will be given 4 bytes. Now, to compare it with normal character variable, so I have declared one character variable well, and I am assigning capital B to it. When I print it, it will be printing simple B on the screen. It will not be printing ASCII value or Unicode value, it will be printing character as it is on the screen. Now, we talk on size. So, when I am trying to print the size of that particular character, it will print 1 byte, because character variables occupies 1 bytes. So, this is important concept and little bit tricky to understand, so that we have demonstrated it. So, this is all for today. If you have any query related to this, you can write to me on shikshansetu@gmail.com. Thank you.